Hello, welcome to Forged from Iron. We are here to discuss the goings-on at Goodison Park tomorrow afternoon. Matchday 7 of 38, where we face Everton, a team that generally in the Premier League, in our illustrious history in that particular league, we've not done great against them, have we, Duke? Although recently, results have been a little bit better than previously.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Okay.
Lukaku doesn't play for him anymore.
Well, yeah, he only played for him for a little bit.
Yeah, no, he was a big part of our problem against Everton, and I hate him for it. He always listen. Who are we playing today? Everton. Oh, Lukaku scores. Put money on it. It doesn't matter.
Even before he turned up, we were getting beat.
If there was sun and there's rain, as guaranteed as you're going to get a rainbow, West Ham versus Everton, Lukaku, or West Ham against anyone that Lukaku plays for, is a Lukaku goal involved. Good evening. Listen. Big game tomorrow. Big game tomorrow.
Both teams.
Yeah. I was about to say that there's grumblings on the horizon from both sets of fans. Style of play, results not necessarily going, the way you'd like them. So there's grumblings from both sets of fans now, based around last season and that kind of shenanigans. We're the ones would allow the grumblings, Rob. Everton avoided relegation last year by the skin of their left testicle.
Yeah,
wrinkled as it was.
That's because our expectations have been raised over the last 2 seasons.
And that's going to be my point, Rob. Our expectations are raised, therefore our grumblings are louder. And for me, our grumblings are more justified to a degree, if you get my meaning. Moyes must know. He must know. Listen, I'm not saying he watches these channels.
How dare you?
He has. Listen, if he does, there's a reason we're losing games and not scoring goals, Rob. He's too busy on fucking YouTube. Listen, if he watches these, if he doesn't watch these, I'm not saying that he does, but he must get the grumblings and the noise that's coming out of the fan base. And doing what we do now, we open ourselves up more to the fan base. As I said yesterday, someone on Kent's channel was bemoaning, the YouTube channels for having a negative spin on a lot of shit. There's that picture that Hammerhead's got. That was one of the ones I used to use for my Facebook. But I've changed it now. We'll give them a little preview later, Rob. We're not negative here, Rob. In my opinion, hi.
No, I think we're realistic.
Hey, forgot her name. No, but we're not. But we're not negative, Rob. I'd like to think that we're not. If we play badly, we will criticise a bad performance, but we don't tend to come on and criticise on a regular basis. That's not what we do.
No,
and what bugs me is that we can't keep criticising. We can't. I was trying to work out which hammer I was talking to. I'm not going to lie to you. There's both a K in there, isn't there? I'm just saying. I'm at a position. I'm getting to a point, Rob, where I'm beginning to understand the grumbling. I'm beginning to side with some of the grumbling, i.e., the annoyance that the favoured personnel, if you will, the annoyance of, as I mentioned, Neil, my friend, the other day, as I was mentioning yesterday, I'm understanding his grumblings. for those of you who are not privy to our, what is going on with this? There we go. For those of you who are not privy to our WhatsApp chat, Rob, I put a picture in there earlier. I don't know whether you saw it, but it was sent
Not
to
another
me.
dick pic, was it?
No, unfortunately not. It wasn't me in a sock. West Ham's points per game over the last 10 months is in the top 3 of the league. We've got 37 points from our last 33 games, which gives us an average point per game of 1.12.
It's not pretty.
That's not great reading, right? That's
No.
relegation form right there.
And that's
right
not being
there.
negative. That's stating a fact.
No. That's a fact. There's no negativity in there. What I'm pointing at is that's got to be better. That has to improve. Otherwise, and I'm not talking about the relegation word, but we could be at some point down the line. Because 37 points from 33 games, we'll see you get relegated. You know, Bournemouth picked up a point at Newcastle today. You know, Newcastle are not having the greatest of seasons, despite the expectations from them. I think that's 7 now. They haven't won in. I mean, he scored again this morning, didn't he? The fucking blonde.
Oh, Haaland.
Haaland, yes, he's a Haaland. Mate, I do believe that the message that I'm not sure where I received it from, but I did send it to Neil.
Metropolitan Police.
Was that 14 goals in 10 games? I think this came from Luke, actually, in our chat. If he plays 50 games this season, he's on for 70 goals. At that pace, in all competitions, if he plays 50 games, he scores 70 goals. And we might not even score that as a club, right? And he's only 22, right? And he's only 22.
He's not going to score 70 goals. He's not going to score 70 goals. I know people, because we was on our way to my mother-in-law's a little bit earlier on.
Mate, he's going to be on 25 before Christmas.
Oh, yeah, but Sam Matterface turned around on TalkSport and said that he'd worked it out that on his current trajectory, I think he was talking league goals, that on his current trajectory, he's in line for 50 goals. But he's not going to get 50-odd Premier League goals. That's just not going to happen. He's going to have spells where the team doesn't create enough chances for him. He's going to have spells where he's going to miss the target. He will. He's not a robot, Duke. He's
Can I just point out that if people go back at the start of this channel, Rob, for 2 years running, 2 seasons running, I've absolutely gone bollock up on 2 predictions. The first one was Cristiano Ronaldo will be shit in that first season he comes back to United. He wasn't. He scored 20 goals. He really wasn't shit. I said he'd be lucky if he scores 10. I held my hands up. I got it wrong. I said that Haaland wouldn't do a lot in his first season in the Premier League, and I'm seriously been made to look like an absolute dick by that man. Learn from me, Robert. Learn from me. Don't say these things out loud live on the streams because they will come back and bite you in the ass.
I try not to.
Me.
Try not to. Anyway, back in the room. Everton, West Ham.
Oh my God.
Let's get the hang on a minute. Diligently prepared. There it is. This is my attempt.
Fucking yours. I've said this yesterday.
My attempt at trying to.
I've said this yesterday. This is practically my 11 that I'm looking at here, bar Antonio, right? You mentioned Antonio. Someone in the chat mentioned Antonio. The rest of that team is what I fucking picked. Behave yourself.
Hold on. What? So I can't agree with you now just because you picked it?
That's not what I said, was it? You said this is my team. Oh no, Treacle.
No. This is my team. Just because it might be very,
it's our team.
Yours, and it could well be your team as well. Jesus Christ.
It's our team.
This is what I suspect. Fabianski in goal. I don't think that. Again, it's pay your money, takes your choice. Should Areola get a crack? Yeah, he probably should, given what he's what he's cost in terms of a transfer fee and in terms of his wages, but we know that David Moyes, rightly or wrongly, is very, very loyal. So I think it'll be Fabianski in goal. I think at left back, now that's an interesting one because, excuse me, again, Cresswell played his 300th game in Claret and Blue against Silkeborg on Thursday night. His time is running out. He's not crap. He's still a decent Premier League performer, but I think we know that his pace is on the wane. Could it be Emerson? Well, I've got to be honest, defensively, Duke, I've not been impressed. I really haven't. If he's Cresswell's replacement, then I would have got serious questions to ask if he's Cresswell's replacement. But there you go. So I would have Cresswell in ahead of Emerson. That's just me. Right back. Now, if Harrison Ashby or Ben Johnson were available, then I would seriously I would not have Klufau in as starting right back.
So that comes down to Rob. We wouldn't. And this is what we're saying, isn't it? We wouldn't. And the Hammeret's just put something in the chat there, and we're in a situation where you and me sit here week in, week out, and we say, this is what we do if we were David Moyes, or this is what David Moyes is going to do, or I think David Moyes will do. And you and I can sit here and bang the Ashby drum, and we have done. Let's not mess around. You and I have quite loudly banged that Ashby drum for probably about close to probably 14, 15 months now. Yeah. And we could listen. We know. I made a case for him the other day with my conversation with Neil, and I read it out on the live stream yesterday that Ashby, for me, he's deadly when getting forward with that right foot. He doesn't have to cut back, or he doesn't pass it to the goalkeeper. We all know Cresswell's delivery is immense. I put Cresswell up there as one of the best free kick takers, one of the best deliverers of a dead ball in the Premier League currently. I'd put him in there with the likes of Ward-Prowse. I'd put him in there with the likes of probably Maddison. I think he's got a great dead ball on him. Not saying he's the guy that queued up to see the Queen for 12 and a half hours yesterday, but he's got a great delivery. Let's not. We're not here to do that. But hats off.
You brought it up.
Hats off to Mr. Beckham for going through that, and for anyone that says he did it for press, and no, he didn't. Piss off. Leave it alone. We have to be better at our deliveries, Rob. Our delivery into the box has to be better. Everything else has dropped off, Larry. I'd agree with you there, but I still think his delivery is... I think he's probably one of the best deliverers in our team, if not the best ball deliverer in our team. I stand by that. I watched him deliver a free kick against Burnley towards the end of the last season, and I called the goal to Grace. So that's going in that comment. So we need someone on the other side, Rob. This is my concern. Soufal cannot deliver. Bowen, for whatever reason...
2 seasons ago, he was prolific.
Yeah. Bowen comes back on his left foot to deliver, and I watched the Wolves Man City game today, and again it was a right-footed player banging down the left, gets into the box and then stops, comes back onto his left. By the time he comes back onto his left, there's 5 Manchester City players in the box compared to 2 of the 3, including the person in possession. Of the attacking Wolves players. Now, if you just whip that ball into the box, there was 2-on-2 in the box.
Yep.
Like you say, so you pay your money, you take your chance. You don't buy a lottery ticket, you're not in it to win it. So, I was there banging. I was like, fucking gross! Like, what are you doing there by the time? And then they lost out because they had bodies back, and they do what they do, and that's where we suffer. that's where we suffer. Antonio, when he bombs down the left, he has to stop. Comes back on that right foot to deliver a cross. Bowen going down the left doesn't tend to be his man on the outside and deliver a cross. He goes down the right, cuts in, or comes back on himself. And by that point, so I'm very much in agreement that for me, Ashby on that side, not Johnson, because I personally think Johnson does not put enough.
The only other option to that, I think, that is realistic, maybe not right now, but when I can see when a EVEWHU is fit, I can see it being, and we'll come to the centre backs in a moment, but I could see that it would be EVEWHU, the left centre back, Kurt Zuma, the right centre back, and then Thilo Kehrer moves over to right back. Wouldn't be shocked. Epic, no, it's not an accident. I'll explain why in a minute. Anyway, so yeah, Zuma and Kehrer, I suspect, will be the centre backs. And then in front, now, Rice is a given. Who's alongside him? Now, we discussed this yesterday. We were both disappointed that Downs didn't A, start, and B, at least get some minutes off the bench. Now, we got away with it. I think that Flynn Downs needs to be given a crack in the Premier League. I really do. From the start, please, Mr. Moyes. Because I think that he would allow Declan Rice that license to get forwards, and Downs would be able to do the defensive job that, with all due respect to Thomas Souček, that's not his bag. It just isn't. Thomas Souček is a box-to-box midfielder like Declan Rice is trying to become. Now, you're then asking Thomas Souček to be the shield, and that's not him. I think Flynn Downs could do that, though. I think Flynn Downs could do that quite well, which would then give Declan Rice that license to do what he wants to do and evolve into that box-to-box midfielder. So play him there. Paqueta as the 10. We've spent 50-odd million on this geezer. He has to play there. He has to play in a position where you're going to get the very best out of him. It's as simple as that. Maxwell Cornet, I thought, was very, very impressive against Silkeborg. I think he had a fantastic cameo against Chelsea and could count himself very unlucky to not get that goal. Obviously had the header that hit the post as well. Now, Antonio, well, again, Epic mentioned it earlier. No, the reason I've put him in is when he played, was it the Chelsea game? Where he played really well. No, it was FCSB.
FCSB when he came off the bench.
Yeah, he played really, really well. So that's the reason I've got him in Epic. I mean, look, if it's a choice between Antonio playing on his form against FCSB or Bowen in his form in his last outing, yes, off the bench, but he was atrocious the other night, seriously. Well, then it's Antonio all day long and twice on a Sunday. And Skamaka up top. Again, I think that he's obviously had his little spell out of the team with his infection, illness, whatever it was. But I think you saw enough against Silkeborg to say, right, again, I think he's getting to grips with it. And the only way you're going to get to grips with Premier League football is to play minutes. So stick him up there. Put him as your number 9. You was after him for long enough. Play the kid. Because otherwise he's just going to get pissed off and he's going to want to go back to Italy. And we're going to have another situation where we're going to lose 20 million quid on a striker who's got the ump.
I was about to say, can you spell Sebastian?
You sound like you've got your head in a bucket. Has something changed?
I don't know. Let's have a look. Is that any better?
Oh, crumbs. It sounds like you're talking to a cave now.
Oh, Rob, I don't know.
I don't know what's happened. He's got a new computer.
Is that one any better?
Now you sound like Kit from Knight Rider.
That's amazing. Let's not knock that. Kit was fantastic. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to leave and come back and see if that helps. Hang on.
Oh, he's left me. He's left me all alone. Anyway, that's my reasoning for that 11, guys. That's my reasoning. Now, you guys, please listen. This is all about opinions, and I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying that you're wrong. If you want to put in a different 11, you've got the live chat. Get your 11 in. Get your formation. Get your personnel, and give a little bit of reasoning as to why you've got certain players in. I mean, like I say, I wouldn't put Bowen in. I just wouldn't, because I think that his form by and large this season has been piss poor. And I think that there are players that have done more than him. I mean, to be honest with you, that 11, I could possibly make a case for Saeed Benrahma. I think he's been rotated to the point where his confidence has now been affected. I think he's looked good in an awful lot of games where he's played this season. I think he really has. But I think that the rotation in and out, I don't think it's done him any favours. How you sounding, Duke?
You tell me.
That's better. That's better. Cliff makes the point here. Let's just look at this, Duke. He says that Rice had one of his best games with Downs alongside him. Allowed Rice to go forward, but Moyes changed it again, and they look like a good partnership to me. Cliff, I 100% agree with that, mate. 100% agree. How about yourself, Duke? Oh, hang on. Oh, you've muted your mic. Hold on. He's having a little. He looks like a football commentator. He's got his sort of like his finger in his ear hole. Now he's picking his nose. Anyway, Kent goes on to say, when the ball is on the other side, Antonio must be heading towards the back post and mulling the fullback. Fair point. Fair point. Miss Hammerette, that's better. It was like last night. It sounded a bit echoey, but didn't want to say anything. He's got a new computer. He's been spending his ill-gotten gains. Did you, Duke?
I don't like her.
Oh, you do, really.
I'm not talking to her anymore. She's in the bad books with the other Hammerette. I'm done with the pair of them.
You love the pair of them. Stop it. Right, and I agree with that. I do think that Benny's confidence, it can't have been helped by the fact that he's playing well and he's put on the bench the following game, and Bowen's playing shit and he's starting ahead of him. That's
agreed.
Eventually, you're just going to go, what the fuck? Seriously. Right, okay,
Yeah.
Should we get on to the Everton team?
Yeah.
Right, well, it looks like Jordan Pickford isn't going to be starting now. Whether you think that Jordan Pickford is the right goalkeeper for England or not, he is Everton's undisputed number one, and he's also their club vice-captain. So for him to be out, that's huge. Now, that I think should give us a little bit of something to cling on to, in my opinion. So I think that Asmir Begovic will start between the sticks. They played a 4-3-3 against Liverpool in their last outing, which they were very unlucky in that game, if you recall, Duke. 0-0 draw, but could have won it. Back four will be Michaelenko on the left, Patterson on the right. What is it about Scotland at the minute? They seem to kick out fullbacks that are absolute quality at an alarming rate. I mean, you look at Robertson, you look at Hickey, you look at Kieran Tierney, Patterson. The one area where they're
Harrison
really
Ashby.
good, Harrison Ashby, yeah. They seem to have an absolute raft of quality fullbacks in the Premier League, that's for sure. Centre-backs will be Tarkowski and Cody, and I suspect that Cody will be the captain on the day. Could be Connor Cody, perhaps, but I'm leaning towards Tarkowski for the simple fact that Connor Cody is the lone player, whereas Tarkowski is a permanent signing of Frank Lampard's. Midfield three, Onana, who obviously we was linked with in the summer. Iwobi and Davies. Onana.
What's his name?
Onana.
What's his name?
Onana.
What's his name? Onana. Sorry, I just want to sound like I keep you going. And you fell for it about 7 times. It was amazing.
I just don't care.
I'm looking forward to now the return leg, so I can do this again.
And I'll just let it wash over me as I always do. Remain professional. Iwobi and Davies will be either side of him, and then the front three: Gordon left, Gray right, Maupay through the middle. Does that strike fear into your heart, Duke, or does even with our form being the way it is, do you not look at that and go, now listen, we can get something here if we play our cards right?
listen, they spent a fortune on Neil Maupay, who I do believe I wouldn't even have him playing the back end of a pantomime horse at Christmas. Anthony Gordon is the 60 million pound pile of fake horse shit that comes out of the back of the pantomime horse at Christmas, right? The only one there, honest to God, right? My opinion here, the only two there that really give me any sort of concern for tomorrow is Onana up against Declan Rice, as others have alluded to, that it's a key battle, and Demarai Gray, Demerara Sugar Gray. They're the only ones that worry me. Like, honestly,
you're looking there and thinking, man for man, we're better than them.
We're better than them, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
But it's Jesus with your bike. But it's us.
Yeah. And Everton have not won a game in the Premier League. You know how this normally goes.
There is. We know the old adage. We know the old adage. If a striker hasn't scored for 7 games, is West Ham have hat-trick. Team haven't won in 12, is West Ham have 1-0 win. Like, it's what we do, it's what we've always done. And unfortunately, I know last season, Rob, we made the comments of that was the old West Ham. My worry is this season is the old West Ham, Rob. From what we're seeing, and it's I don't need this being the last game before we go into Monday, because if this is the last game and it goes Pete Tong and we go into Monday with what Monday is, it's going to be a shit few days.
And of course, don't forget, this is the last game before an international break. We don't play again until the 1st of October.
No.
Don't want to go into an international break on the back end of a reverse and in our position in the Premier League, which ain't too pretty at the minute.
It's not
and
pretty.
Exactly what Peter says there. The first goal is critical. Absolutely critical. Well, he needs to do it tomorrow. Words and pictures. Let's not kid ourselves. We need to get at least. I think if we went there and got a point, but it was a point where we was the team on the attack and we was, shots saved by the goalkeeper, hits the bar, cleared off the line, then you just sort of go, okay, fine, But if we go there and we stink the place out, very concerned. But 3 points would be huge, absolutely huge, and we're capable of getting it because, like I say, you look at that 11 there, and you look at our 11, and all right, when the teams are announced, they could be slightly different, but I think generally, probably 80 to 90% of the players that have been displayed on these two slides are probably going to start tomorrow. There's not too many players on the Everton slide that I would swap for players in ours. Really not. So we got to go for this lot. Have a go over them, I mean, you look at some of the teams that have played in the Premier League this season. Look at Fulham on the opening day against Liverpool. They had a go. They didn't play with fear. And then what was it the next day? And I've referenced this yesterday. The next day we played Man City and were rolled over and had our tummies tickled. And we've been playing crap for most of this season since. That's not being negative. That's me being honest. That's me stating the fact. We've not played well. Even in the games we've won, can you actually say we've played well? I can't. But there you go. Anyway, before I move on, I said I would do this. I'm going to give this a little bit of a plug, if I may. Any of you guys not doing anything on Friday the 14th of October, and you can get anywhere near Dagenham and Redbridge Football Club, there's a little bit of a shindig going on. I think so, yeah. I think so, yeah. It's an evening with Frank McAvenny, and it's hosted by Mr. Tony Gale, plus special guests, as it says there. It's at Dagenham and Redbridge Football Club. It's £35 a ticket, and it includes a traditional pie and mash. Search Ticket Tailor Mandeville Promotions to secure your tickets, and it's a ticket-only event. There is no admission on the night. The bar is open from 6 p.m. It starts the event at 7:30 p.m. and it concludes approximately 10:30. So Mandeville Promotions Limited, that's where you need to get yourself if you want to get involved in that. Doing my little bit to try and help people out on the channel. But what are your thoughts on tomorrow then, Duke? I mean, give us your score predictions. What are you thinking?
It's a very, very big. It's a very, very important game, and to be this early in the season, to be as important as it's going to be, is a worry. Rob, is very much a worry. 3-1.
Ooh. Let's have a look. I think a few of the guys in the live chat might be jumping in. And please do, guys, don't be shy.
Oh,
we love...
Big Larry.
Well, we'll come to that. Peter says, Moyes won't have a go from the off. He will sit back. Sadly, I think you're right. And defend, hoping to get them on the break for a cheeky 1-0. Yeah, do you know what? That wouldn't shock me. I think that possibly could be the... Because let's be honest, a lot of the games where we seem to have been on the back foot in the first half and then tried to sort of claw it back in the second, it seems to be a bit of a pattern that's evolving. So I wouldn't be shocked. Larry's gone 3-1 to West Ham. Peter's gone 1-0 or 2-1 to them. Ouch. Larry goes on to say, we can't accept a draw for a 17th position team. Yeah, but we're not.
We're rating Larry. I mean, without.
Yeah. And as we've discussed, this is what West Ham do over the years. I mean, you know, we've Duke and I have obviously seen this many times over the years, as Duke's alluded to. We've got a striker that's on a sort of like a 25-game barren run, and West Ham roll into town. You know what's happening next. You've got a team that's on a run of 10 consecutive defeats. West Ham turn up. Oh, well, you know what's happening next. And it's just what we do. We aren't playing as a team, says Peter. There's a lot of new players. There's a lot of business that was done in the summer, and I appreciate that a lot of them were not players that came in and played in Premier League football before. The likes of Skamaka, the likes of Paqueta, Flynn Downs. I mean, he'd not played Premier League football. He was a Championship player. So there's a lot of players that have got. I accept there are players that need to get used to the Premier League, but fundamentally, we can't hang about, because if we get nothing from tomorrow and we go into the international break firmly in the bottom three, again, I'm not going to say the R word, but I'm concerned. And that's not me being negative, ladies and gentlemen. That is not me, because negative, I don't think, is my default position. And I hope you understand that and you agree with that. It's not my default position. But I have to be realistic and go, if that's our position after 8 games, we got a problem on our hands.
Yeah, very much an issue.
That's a good point there, Pete, to be
2
fair.
seconds, Rob.
That's all right, mate. Pete says, Moyes moaned about not enough players. Now he has too many that he can't deal with. Exactly. You know, this is the price of success, Mr. Moyes. You know, you've qualified for Europe 2 seasons in a row. Congratulations to you. I tip my cap to you. You've got us a 6th place, followed by a 7th place, a European semi-final. I tip my cap to you. But you can't stand still. You stand still, you don't stand still, because everybody else will shoot past you. He's made the signings that he's made. If you believe that they're all his signings and that they're not Sullivan specials that have been foisted upon him, if these are his players, then he has to stand or fall by those decisions, Duke.
Listen, we've had many conversations about who is and who isn't a Moyes signing. We've had many conversations over the last 4 months, when's Rob Newman going to earn his money? Now it's time for the players to stand up and be counted.
But then
time for Declan Rice.
Moyes has got to select the right players to do the job in the right formation.
Now Declan Rice has to stand up and turn around and say, on the pitch, and I've always said this about a captain, stand up and make a point on the pitch. And that is, if it ain't working, change it. On the pitch, if it ain't working, change it. Stop what the geezer over there on the sideline is saying. It ain't working. Make the fucking change mid-game. You're the manager on the pitch as far as I'm concerned as a captain. Yep. Make a change. You can see where the problems are. If the problems are that we're being overloaded on the left-hand side, make the change that makes that left winger sit a bit deeper to be able to help your left back. Right? Do you see what I'm getting at? If it's the right side, if we're being overrun in midfield, call Paqueta back to make a bank of 3. You know, that's your job as a captain on the pitch, is to see these things. Not wait until half time when we've conceded 2, go in and go, well, boss, here's where the problem is. It's a bit fucking late now. We've conceded 2 because you've not made that decision on the pitch. Captains need to have the authority to be able to do that on the pitch, to be able to sit on the pitch and make a change on the pitch. They're the ones playing. Not the manager on the touchline, not Kevin Nolan sitting on the in the seats, not whoever it is up watching the game from the gantry above the stadium. That's not how this works. Declan Rice can sit on the pitch because Declan Rice is one that's been overrun. Paqueta, drop in, son. We're going to need you to drop in.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we do going forward? We'll worry about it in a minute. We need to shore up this midfield line because they're breaking us down. They're coming through too quickly. Shore this up and then we'll figure out what goes on going forward. We'll work that out afterwards. We need to stop. We need to basically triage a battlefield, Rob. Stop the bleeding. That's where I'm at. But for me, that's down to Declan Rice as a captain on the pitch to stand up and be counted.
Well, since you mentioned Declan Rice and you also mentioned his direct competitor, Amadou Onana. So there they are, Duke, side by side. Amadou Onana. Don't start. Don't start. Name? Shut up. Tart. Can we have a little look at their numbers?
Ooh, yeah, go on. Oh, okay. I tickle myself again. I love life. I do.
Such a prat. Right, here we go. Let's have a look at their attacking stats here, Duke. So Declan Rice has played 1 match more in the Premier League, so fair enough. It's about comparable. Neither of them have scored a goal. Onana's had 4 shots to Declan Rice's 6, so it tends to suggest that Declan Rice has been getting forwards a bit more regularly. He's also got 2 shots on target compared to Onana's 0. And they've both got 2 shots off target. So, offensively, Declan Rice seems to be superior. But I don't think that's an overwhelming victory on Declan Rice's part, do you?
No, but I think the next set of stats could be the more interesting one.
Team play or defending?
Defending.
Okay, we'll tell you what. Let's do team play first because that's next chronologically. So, Declan Rice got 2 assists. Onana's got 0, and he's also created 1 big chance, and Onana 0 again. Passing, look at that. Declan Rice is overwhelmingly superior. 311 passes to 111, with an 87.78% pass completion at 76.58. I mean, looking here, virtually all of the red is in favour of Declan Rice. There's only one that actually Onana is superior. He's got 1 through ball to Declan Rice's 0. And they've both been dispossessed an equal amount of times in 3. So the team play is Declan Rice is the far better stats-wise in the Premier League. So this is the one you want to concentrate on, Duke.
I mean, have a look. Have a look.
Well, they've both got 2 blocks.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at your interceptions, Rob. You look at your tackles. You look at your successful tackles. Now, Everton are being bore down on quite a lot. And he's got to make them challenges. He's got to, you know. Again, take a look at the heady clearances. Just have a look at it. I mean, people are banging on about Declan Rice and Kent's put it in the chat, passing sideways. Keeps possession. It's called recycling the ball, Kent. And you know, I've made a comment about certain players in the squad not having that footballing intelligence. Fuck mine. I 5'2", Jesus. I banged on about certain players not having footballing intelligence in our side, recycling the ball. I'd rather Declan Rice pass sideways 10 times in a game and keep possession and try it for a difficult pass 5 times and lose the ball every single time. For me, it's about possession and recycling the ball when things are not quite there for you. So that, for me, is more important. I'd rather him pass it sideways 10 times and make 100% pass accuracy than, you know, attempt 5 passes forward and lose possession every time. That's probably, but that's me. That's where I'm at. Everyone's opinions are different. I get that.
Yeah. What do you think about this question that Cliff's put? Do you think that Paqueta was a Moyes signing?
Yeah, I do, but I also think Fornals is a Moyes signing, and I just think now we're seeing a little bit more of a. We're seeing more of a. He's doing the same thing with Paqueta. We're seeing more of the same. He bought Fornals and he kind of battered the. Not battered the flair out of him, but he kind of instilled that defensive resilience and solidity, and he's trying to do the same with Paqueta.
Yeah.
Trying to add another bow to his he's trying to add another string to his bow. The problem is that he doesn't need that. We need him up there.
Well, I haven't given my score prediction. I'm mindful of that, but that's why I've probably got to give it now, haven't I? Because we're coming towards the last stages of the stream. Because I've got a recording to do at 8. I've got a hot date.
We have.
I have, and then another one at 9. I'm a
Both
busy boy.
Very, very attractive individuals.
I'm a very, very lucky and sought after man. What can I say? It's not Tinder or anything, trust me. Or is it?
Listen, if they're your matches on Tinder, you're on Grindr.
Steady. No, but I'm going to go. This is probably more my head than more than my heart than my head. I'm going to go 1-0 to West Ham. I don't think it's going to be a particularly pleasant performance. I think it's going to be a performance that we're probably going to... It'll probably be like Villa away, if I'm being honest. It will be one where if we get the victory, we'll sit there and go, great, fantastic. We've pushed up the table a bit. We've got a little bit of confidence, blah, blah, blah. But I think when you actually stand back in the cold light of day and analyse how the game panned out, the stats of the respective teams, the general pattern of play, I think you'll probably sit there and go, we got away with that. We'll take it, but we weren't pretty. So, and like I say, there's not really been any game that I can hand on heart say that we've produced a 90-minute performance this season, which concerns me. Even the games we've won, I want to see a performance. Look, I accept that you're not going to go away from home in the Premier League and you're not going to dominate for 90 minutes. I get that. Unless you're Man City, you're not going to dominate. But I think that it's not an unreasonable thing for me to suggest that a team that finished 7th in the Premier League last season and made a European semi-final against a team that last season almost got relegated, and we've spent 180 million in the transfer window. I don't think it's an unreasonable thing for me to expect that we go there and we look like the better team for the bulk of the match, and that statistically, all the stats will show that we are the better team and that we come away with 3 points. I'm not being disrespectful to Everton. They're a great footballing institution, but they are where they are, and they have been there for quite a while. And we've been where we've been for the last couple of seasons. As I say, we've spent this money in the summer So our expectation is that we should be putting a team like Everton to the sword. We really should.
Yeah. Listen, there's absolutely no disagreement coming with you or to you from me. It's we're now in a position where, in my opinion, everything's a must-win game, Rob. Everything now is a must-win game between now and Christmas, regardless of who we're playing. Between now and the World Cup break, we have to be winning games. You know, I will say, I don't care how we do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of, after the win on Thursday night, which wasn't pretty. In fact, it was fucking awful.
Yep.
But in retrospect, we got the win, and there are teams, good teams, that play badly and still scrape a win. You know, we used to talk about the Man U and the Arsenal sides that did exactly that. I'm not comparing us to those Arsenal sides. I'm not comparing us to those Man United sides. But we got the win, right? So now I don't care whether we win ugly tomorrow, and it's ugly, and we scrape a 1-0 win. I don't care. I'm at that point now where wins are wins, and that's what matters. That's where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I want to see good football. I want to see, what we got used to last year and Malarkey and Dudar. But we also need to be winning now. And winning ugly is still winning. Winning pretty is fun, but winning ugly is still winning. And for me, 3 points is imperative.
Yeah, I agree that 3 points is imperative. And if you were to give me a choice between playing pretty and not getting 3 points, or playing like, I don't want to say like a long ball Wimbledon 80s sort of, I'm not after that. But yeah, the result is imperative. But as I say, I think we're better than what we're showing this season. A lot better. We should be a lot
Agreed.
better. We should expect a lot better. We should expect that spending the money that we have should be giving us better football on the eye, better football in terms of results.
It should.
And it's not.
You're right. No. It should. You're right.
And we're nearly, 2 months into the season?
We have the
And
right to
October's
have
a lot
those
of football coming.
expectations. And there's 9 games. Listen, you're right to have those expectations. I'm not saying you're not, Rob. And same to everyone else in the in the chat. Everyone's, we do deserve some good football. But I also want 3 points on the ball. That's essentially where I'm at. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to go out tomorrow and smash them off the park, 5-0, dominant football, sexy as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, one of them games where we come away going, oh, didn't we look? Oh, my, wow, just like that all the time. That's literally the noise we make on the review video. Like that. But also, Rob, I don't care if I come in on chat in 24 hours' time going, well, that was shit, but we've got to win. There's 3 points on the board.
Yeah, be like the Villa game, wouldn't it? Exactly like the Villa
listen,
game.
or Thursday, or Thursday night.
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. The second half of the game against Villa was completely different to the second half. Okay.
Yep.
The first half against Steaua Bucharest was even worse than the first half against. But the second half was amazing to watch because of the 3 players that come on. That's not necessarily. The first half against Steaua Bucharest, once we got into our stride, was okay. The second half was like the first half against Villa and Steaua Bucharest. We've got to play for 90 minutes. We can't just pick and choose what 45 we're going to rock up in. Because one of these days it's going to come back and bite us in the arse. I do think 3-1 tomorrow. I think we'll go 1-0 up. They'll come out. We'll go 2-0 up. They'll come back. They'll get one, and then they'll come looking for the third, the equaliser. We break away and we put it to bed. That is. Hammerette, would you behave yourself? Please. There's a lot of love in my heart. for both Hammerettes. Both of you. A lot of love.
Have they, has a restraining order that they took out on you been run out or?
Got them in a frame up on the wall behind the screen.
Oh, it's only a joke, children. There wasn't no restraining order, I promise you. He's walked, but he's not dangerous.
It was just an arrest for breach of peace.
Oh dear. Any final words you want to sort of get out off your chest before we knock it on the head,
No,
my
mate.
friend?
To be fair, listen. It's been a rough time this last week or two. Obviously, you liar. It's been a rough week. 10 days with everything that's obviously gone on behind the scenes. Not with us, but obviously with what's happened with the royal family and us. And I find it quite difficult to watch everything played out so publicly. This poor 73-year-old man has lost his mum. He's been dragged from pillar to post, and he's being forced to parade her, her funeral, which should be quite a private affair, to millions. And I feel sorry for him a little bit. So I've been watching this with a little bit of a sick feeling in my stomach, because I feel like it should be a private occasion. But what I will say is, if anyone, again, goes back to, if anyone needs to talk, if anyone feels a bit shitty with everything that's gone on, reach out, say hello, hit me up in, those that are in chats and stuff that we're in on the phones. You've got my number. Those that are friends on Facebook, just ping me a Facebook message. And if not, find me on Twitter. You've got my Twitter handle. It comes up on screen. You can find Forge from Iron over on Twitter, and you can find Gatesy as well. I know he'd be quite happy to actually have some people to talk to that's not me and his missus, to be fair. He doesn't really have a lot of friends. Yeah, so... But no, guys, reach out. How was it? Where'd you go? Primesh?
Yes. Yeah, took her out, because she lives over in Essex, doesn't she? And we went to Basildon. Robin's Pie and Mash. Very nice.
Nice.
Do you know the only person that didn't have any? El Presidente. El Presidente. She prides herself on being an Essex girl, which she isn't. She's from East London. But that's another story.
And she's a spud.
And yeah. It's her dad, her late father. That's his fault. But she's the only one that doesn't. Out of the four of us that were around the table at Robin's this afternoon, she was the only one that didn't tuck into any pie, mash, or liquor. Terrible. We briefly touched on that earlier, Kent. We agree. I do anyway. You're shaking your head.
I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it.
Wrong uns.
So you had pie and mash, and then you're going to liquor.
Steady.
Bit of blue for Dad.
Yeah. Anyway, before we wrap it up, I've got it up on the screen again. As I say, guys, 14th of October, if you're at a loose end and you fancy having a little bit of a chit-chat with two West Ham legends, two of the boys of 86 nonetheless, then why don't you put into a Google search Mandeville Promotions? You can go to Dagenham and Redbridge Football Ground, and if you shell out 35 quid, you will not only get to rub shoulders with these two fine gentlemen, but you also get, as we've just been talking about, traditional East End pie and mash with, I don't know. Listen, they probably will serve gravy because there'll probably be people there that don't like the green stuff, but beautiful. And it is a ticket-only event, guys, so you can't rock up on the day, cash on the hip. So get yourself over to Mandeville Promotions and get yourself a ticket. And I can thoroughly recommend it. It'll be a good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I can guarantee you that. Anyway, we're going to knock it on the head there. One thing I didn't mention, just because I've got it there. They're the officials tomorrow. Michael Oliver, he used to be a good barber, I think. Michael Oliver's the referee. His assistants will be Stuart Burt and Simon Bennett. The fourth official will be Andy Madley. Remember him, ladies and gentlemen. Remember him.
See, Chloe's
Mike.
dad.
No, he's the guy that was the ref again in the Chelsea game.
I thought that was Chloe's dad.
No, that's Richard.
Or was it? No, I thought he was the singer in Spandau Ballet.
That's Tony Hadley, you dickhead.
Oh, Hadley. Right, sorry, gosh.
Jesus Christ. Did you see what I have to work
What's the
with?
midfielder played for Everton, Rob?
The midfielder that plays for Everton, Tom
Yeah.
Davies. Yeah.
What we trying to sign?
Don't know. I've got amnesia. The VAR is Mr. Mike Dean, who used to be a Premier League referee once upon a time, and now he's not good enough to be a Premier League referee, so they've got him on VAR, so he doesn't have to run around. That's nice, isn't it? And he's assisted by, because he's so old and decrepit and doesn't know what's going on, he has to have an assistant. His name is Dan Cook.
Listen, they're all fucking useless. It ain't going to make no difference to anyone.
Anyway, we're going to disappear, guys. Stay safe. We will reconvene tomorrow after the match. Normally we do it on a Monday, but we're not going to do it on the Monday because that's obviously the day of the Queen's funeral. So out of respect to her, we're going to go... What sort of time do you reckon tomorrow, mate?
I'll have to clear it with Joe, but I'm thinking probably 9ish, just so gives a chance for the pub to clear out. Obviously, it's a bank holiday weekend, so it's going to be one of them because people are not going to be working the next day. I've just got to try and play it by ear with the pub. So we're probably 8:30, 9ish, but we'll work coming out.
Right, mate. Well, we'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. Stay safe and come on, you Irons.